Part 78. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 799. You can't be handsome for 3 seconds, but you can be a real man in 3 seconds. In such a short period of time, Yang Yu probably had a basic impression of Darkrai, the nightmare god in the elven world. From Darkrai's few words, coupled with the dimensional crack drawn towards the sky, and seeing the dream world being divided into 2 worlds, Yang Yu knew a little more about Darkrai. However, this extra point soon plummeted as Darkrai fell from the sky and fell into the Great Rift Valley. Yang Yu was still thinking about what Darkrai had said before. Maybe this was another god with some contradictions like Reggie Locke. Can you give me a hand? Darkrai lay on the Moo Milk River and doubted the gods. The mini dragon is standing by the Moo Milk River. If Darkrai doesn't speak up first, it won't save it. This black guy has polluted its Moo Milk River. Mum. The mini dragon turned its head. I reject. I have to find some useful things hidden on my body. I can't help you like this, Darkrai sighed. There was nothing he could do about an elf like a mini dragon. Even if he is hit by a move, it will not threaten Darkrai. If he wants to use his own special move to darken the hole, that would be too much. The dark hole is a hypnotic technique with evil attributes, which plunges the elves into endless dark nightmares. Unless absolutely necessary, Darkrai will never use this move. This is where Darkrai's bottom line lies. It hurts Tianhe. Once the dark hole is used, it means that the situation has reached an extremely dangerous point, and Darkrai does not want to encounter such a thing again. Mum. The mini dragon looked at the sloppy Darkrai with very contemptuous eyes. How could there be any good things hidden in such a shabby outfit? At first glance, it's a lie. Specially designed to deceive children like mini dragons. Many dragons will not be fooled. In fact, Darkrai is a very handsome elf. In the eyes of human trainers, if the 3 words nightmare god are discarded, Darkrai is like a night walker wearing a black trench coat, shuttling between shadows, indescribably chic. However, it is different in mini Longan. This is the look of a child. The big bad guy in front of him cheated people into eating and drinking, even little elves like the mini dragon were spared. He even split the mini dragon's dream into pieces. As for the black trench coat, this is clearly a rag. Just like Mimikyu's rag. In comparison, Mimikyu's rags look better. At least. I won't compete with the mini dragon for food. Darkrai Fengjing was killed. Gee. It was Gengui Liahe who spoke. For an elf who can split the dimensional space with one move, it is extremely easy to store something with the mastery of space. Of course, Gengui Liahe's eyes are fixed on Darkrai in front of him. If Darkrai wants to play any tricks, Gengui Liahe wants this guy to see what it means to be overwhelmed by a mountain. Darkrai is like a scarecrow, hanging on a branch in the mini dragon dream world. Of course, this branch was also made of chocolate, and Darkrai couldn't help but take a bite while hanging on it. Crunchy. The paralysis effect did not last long, and Darkrai's body was left to dry out by the way. Let me find it. Darkrai stretched out his paws and touched his cuffs. They said they were cuffs, but they were actually already on his shoulders. The 2 black straps floating on his shoulders are where Darkrai stored his treasures. After closing his eyes and groping for a while, Darkrai's eyes opened. Darkrai's expression became a little more complicated, and then he calmed down his complicated thoughts. The black claw slowly opened. At this time, there was a scale with a beautiful shape exuding iridescent light in the palm of the hand. The appearance of the heart was sparkling and translucent. If it weren't for the heart-shaped appearance, perhaps this thing could easily be mistaken for beautiful scales, which are important props that allow the ugly fish to evolve into meanness. Precisely because this treasure has the shape of a heart, its name is ready to be named. Heart scales. Darkrai's eyes fell on Yang Yu in slight surprise, but he did not expect that the young trainer would tell its name at a glance. But think about it, being able to think of something incredible that can connect the dream world in the real world to the reverse world has never been thought of or done by anyone. Maybe it's not surprising to be able to recognize the scales of the heart. In Yang Yu's memory, the heart scale is used as a prop to recall moves in the game, but in the real world, the elves master and can use many more moves than in the game. Then, Darkrai took out an important item called Heart Scale. What can it be used for? Is this the key to helping Mini Dragon find the current Venus? G. At this moment, Genguiliahe couldn't help but stand up from the ground with the ghost throne on his shoulders. His huge eyes stared at the thing in Darkray's hand in disbelief. How come he has heart scales? Me. 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 The mini dragon hurried over, staring directly at the heart scale in Darkray's hand, because such a thing reminded it of what it saw at the East China Sea Dragon Palace's home. The only thing left in this world that belongs to Mother Venus. That's it? That's it? It can definitely help the mini dragon contact its mother, Venus. Darkrai did not stop him and continued to speak. This should be the only way to do it at present, contact with the method of reversing the world of Venus. The scales of the heart are like a mirror. Through the scales, it allows you to see what you most want to see in your inner world, whether it is a person, an elf, or something else. You just need to recall. Recalling the appearance of the elf you want to see may touch some sad things. The clearer the appearance, the clearer you can feel the elf you want to see. This is a more versatile item than the World Bank ghost coin that has the power of ghosts. Darkrai looked a little complicated. This heart scale has a complicated origin. Just seeing it, Darkrai felt a sense of desolation in his heart. Maybe this is the helplessness of the nightmare god? Scales of the heart, scales of the heart. Now, she will be discovered. Darkrai looked up at the dreamy sky. Who hasn't had a wonderful memory? But who knows the pain caused by beautiful memories? The nightmare god is destined to be lonely. Darkrai also wanted to have his own life like ordinary elves, but when he came to this world, his future had already been written and decided. If I hadn't chosen to escape, what would have been the outcome? Darkrai's heart moved, and the answer was that there was no ending. The heart scales are sensitive. Did this damn bastard finally remember to take out the heart scales? Is he finally ready to see me? Above the night sky, under this full moon, on a small island hidden under the moonlight and among the clouds, a figure hurriedly came to the lakeside of the island. What to do, what to do? I haven't seen him for thousands of years. What if he doesn't recognize me? Are there any signs of aging on my face? Come on, hurry up. A mysterious elf wrapped in pink ring-shaped wings put its head into the lake in a panic, and then began to wash its face. The ageless face, under the crescent moon-like headdress, has a mysterious beauty. Cresselia cleaned her appearance as quickly as possible to make herself look younger. Full Moon Island. There was a scream of grief and anger. Scumbag. Darkrai shivered and felt a little cold for no reason. At this moment, seeing the mini dragon preparing to reminisce in front of the heart scale, Darkrai suddenly felt that something was wrong. Dear Lord Cresselia, the god of dreams, I swear, I'm not thinking about Venus, it's true. Mum. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 800. Turn the world upside down. This is a paradise for ghosts. The sky is not like endless darkness. There are still bright stars here. In the reverse world, many of the creatures that died in the real world still have their own lives here. These bright stars in the sky are a kind of belief for them. Because they believe that they can express their longing for their relatives and friends in the real world through the stars in the sky, and at the same time hope that they will not worry, that they will have a new life in the reverse world. Not all souls who pass away in the real world can live peacefully in the reverse world. In the real world of elves, trainers dominate. Invert the world, and the elves are the masters of this world. Any trainer who ruthlessly abandons elves in the real world will eventually reap the consequences in the reverse world. This is the rule set by the Lord of the Reversal World, Giratina, the Dark Dragon King. Some people were prosperous in their previous lives, but in this life they are destined to pay off the debts they owe in the elven world. If they are dissatisfied with the rules of the world, the Dark Dragon King will make them understand that what is more terrifying than death is the exile of the soul. In fact, life in the reverse world is not as dark as imagined. Whether it is a human soul or an elf soul, in the reverse world, they can fight for their new life. Although the rules of the inverted world are basically opposite to those of the real world. To move forward is to go backward, and to go backward is to move forward. However, in any case, do as the Romans do. In order to live a better life, you must naturally learn to accept it. At this time, a slender figure passed by in the sky above the inverted world continent. Minas. It's Lord Minas. Lord Minas is back. People living on the floating continent in the reverse world can occasionally see mysterious elves passing over the floating continent. There is also a floating island directly above the floating continent. This island is Mina, the place where Lord Si lives. The reversal world has a total of 6 floating islands, and each floating island is inhabited by 6 heavenly king-level elves under the Lord of the reversal world, the Dark Dragon King Giratina. Perhaps the heavenly king level can no longer accurately describe their strength. Above the heavenly kings, they should be called gods. Not long ago, there was once again a floating island on the mainland. This is another floating island that has appeared in the reverse world in the past few decades. People living on the mainland are discussing which elf master this floating island is for. There is even a ghost handicap. At the beginning of the game, what will be the elf who can finally become the master of this floating island? Minas Floating Island. There is a very beautiful environment on the island. Whether it's the tinkling of spring water or the fragrance of birds and flowers, you can find the colors of spring on this floating island. It's spring again. When you come to the forest, you can hear the sound of rushing water, and the most incredible thing is that at the fault of the water flow, the waterfall flows backwards. This is a completely opposite rule from the real world of elves. At the end of the rapid water flow, there is a huge lake. In the lake, a beautiful water snake can be vaguely seen, rippling in the lake at the moment. Wow! Minas emerged from the lake, raising splashing water, and every drop of water spread out like diamond stars, crystal clear. This should be the most peaceful moment of the day in the reverse world. On Minas's body, some vague scars caused by the moves gradually recovered as before. The slowly swaying water ring around him, as well as the effect of life drops, gave Minas a gentle and comfortable feeling. Closing his eyes and recalling everything that happened during the battle between the elves, Minas still felt unspeakable palpitations in his heart. Such an elf, she has never seen in the real world of elf. Lord Nether Dragon King calls them strange beasts. This is not the first time Minas has heard the name exotic beast. However, beyond time, space, dreams, the reverse world and the real world, there is an unknown world, which is still incredible to Minas. Until I came into contact with them. Perhaps Lord Pluto Dragon King discovered them before the reverse world was formed. Minas slowly closed his eyes. Life in the reverse world is not much easier than in the real world, especially for the elves with the top combat power in the reverse world. In addition to maintaining the daily stable order of the reverse world, they also need to conduct training to improve their strength. Mina slowly swam from the lake to a huge rock by the lake. This piece of rock has become very smooth after decades of erosion by water. Traces of time are engraved on it. It is also a way for Minas to experience the changes in the reverse world. In the real world of elves, it is spring again. Are they okay now? Long Long should have just woken up from hibernation now, right? Little dragon, and many, many fish, how are they doing now? Minos used the superpower he had mastered to easily draw the appearance of a fast dragon on the lake. Then, he changed the belly to be slightly fatter, and the handles and legs to be slightly stronger. This should be the current Longlongs, right? There was a hint of nostalgia in Minos's eyes. The blue fantail gently brushed over the water scroll, and the ripples made the painting of Kui Long gradually come to life. Minos has not forgotten the songs they sang together when they were together. At that time, Long Long was still a Hakron that was about the same size as her and even slender than her. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a mature and fat old father. Minos chuckled secretly, covered his mouth with his pink hair like fins, smiled brightly, the spring flowers bloomed, and the floating island seemed to become more vibrant. The oldest little dragon, there should be little dragons too, right? It's a pity that I haven't seen Xiaolonglong's mate, nor Xiaolonglong's little dragon. Sighing softly, there may be a lot of guilt, but Minos's heart is stronger. Maybe it won't be long before the reverse world will be connected to the real world. At that time, she can meet dragons, and many, many fish. Ugly fish, I don't know if that ugly fish I've ever seen has found true love. Beautiful scales, beautiful legend, it's also a romantic legend. Minos' eyes fell on the lake again, and he used his superpower again as usual, and began to draw the smallest and smallest 3 little dragons. There are so many fish, but Minos is very relieved, because the ugly fish and the others can live easily in the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace. But will those 3 little dragons be starved by the dragon? Because there are so many fishes that can fill them up, but for Xiaolonglong, that's not enough at all. The growth of a mini-dragon requires an unknown amount of food energy to provide. What if the mini-dragon cannot take good care of it and the little dragon is hungry? As he thought about it, Mina seemed to vaguely sense something and subconsciously laughed. She seemed to clearly feel a touch from deep inside her heart. Is there a little dragon thinking about her? Although Minos knew in her heart that Long Long was also thinking of her, such a touching feeling was the first time in the decades since she entered this reverse world that she had been so strongly touched. Is it an illusion? When Minos felt as if something white appeared in front of him, on the mirror-like lake, Minos suddenly saw a small dragon that he had drawn, as if there is an extra big white nose, an extra pair of crystal clear eyes, and those 2 white ears are so real. Minos stared blankly at the incredible scene in front of him. Speaking subconsciously. Xiaolonglong, you must have suffered a lot over there, right? The mini-dragon shook his eyes. When that extremely familiar face appears among the scales of the heart. Mum. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 801. Darkrai still underestimated the obsession in the mini-dragon's dream. Almost not long after the mini-dragon became anxious, and not even 3 breaths away, the scales of the heart emitted a soft radiance, blooming gracefully at this moment. In the charming halo, the lingering figure of the mini-dragon's soul finally appeared in front of its eyes again. The mini-dragon's tears of hope finally flowed down uncontrollably. Mum. Here is the dreamland of mini-dragons. This is the territory of the mini-dragon. The Moo Milk River flows endlessly, and the mountains formed by piles of candies are like a volcanic eruption. Candies are bombarded into the sky of dreams, and then blooming like fireworks. Xiaolonglong, you must have suffered a lot over there, right? Minos in the island lake of the floating island in the reverse world never thought that such a day would come. When the reverse world and the real world are not yet connected, apart from the last time the last remaining thoughts of the beautiful scales received a brief call, I did not expect to receive another call from the real world that transcends time and space. Mum. A stream of boiling blood rushed through the mini-dragon's body. As a child's instinct, the mini-dragon shook its head almost crazily. The mini-dragon even wanted to stuff its head into the scales of the heart. I want to go to the reverse world where my mother lives. However, only the gurgling tears flowed on the surface of the scales of the heart, dripping on the ground. The dreamland melted by the tears began to exude a mellow aroma of chocolate. Bitter, sweet, endless aftertaste. Silly boy. Minos looked at the mini-dragon in the lake and wanted to break through the shackles of the lake. It was like two worlds, under the lake and above the lake, and the calm lake was the limit that could not be broken through at this level. Minos is very close. She also wanted to put her head into the lake to meet Xiao Longlong, but she knew in her heart that once she did this, the picture of Xiao Longlong would be blurred due to the fluctuation of the water waves. This is the voice coming from deep inside. The scales of the heart. Minos already understood in his heart that this feeling was a deeper touch than the thoughts left behind by the beautiful scales. In the elven world, only divine objects like the heart scales could have such an effect. In the dream world of Mini-Dragon, Yang Yu, Dede, Jengar Lahe, Dream Demon, Tijipai, including Mimikyu and Darkrai, all maintained an unspeakable silence at this time. This is the world of Mini-Dragons. This is Mini-Dragon time. My love is separated by mountains and seas cannot be leveled, the scales of my heart, no matter who I am remembering, as long as I have a heart that truly wants to meet, even if I am separated by a whole world, even the ends of the world, I can't stop it, what my heart wants. Darkray's voice was filled with a trace of unspeakable melancholy. Probably, this was the inner thought of the wandering wanderer. In the end, Darkray's thoughts moved slightly. Although I have wandered around the world, I have not lost my true heart. There are not many elves as good as me in the elf world. Darkrai paused and looked at the tree next to him where he was hung. This tree is contaminated with the breath of the nightmare god, which is an ominous omen. In order to prevent this candy tree from being infested by nightmares, it is better to eat it as soon as possible. At this time, the mini-dragon hurriedly bit some matcha-flavored herbs on the ground, trying hard to show off his appetite in front of his mother, Minos. Me. But this speed simply cannot achieve the effect that the mini-dragon wants to show. Just at this time, Yang Yu moved, Dudu moved. The dream monster moved, and Gengui Lahe also moved. Tijipai and Mimikyu even joined in this operation. This is, moving mountains. Yang Yu may not have used the power of elves to help the mini-dragon move mountains like Dede and the others in the dream, but he can still do his best, run. Poppy. The pair of hands blessed by the gifts of the elven world are shaking in the dream of this mini-dragon. Energy cubes, electromagnetic popping candies, Moo Milk River, chocolate forest. At this moment, everyone is gathering in the direction of the mini-dragon. This is the moment the mini-dragon needs help. Mom. The mini-dragon wants to use his actions to make his mother Minos feel at ease in the reverse world. Eat. Eat. Eat eat eat. In the real world of elves, it's doing well. It keeps your belly full. Who wants to worry about their mother? Me. The mini-dragon tried his best to show his mother, Minos, one piece of food after another under the influence of the colorful light that appeared on the scales of the heart. Work hard and eat it up. At this time, Darkrai looked at the half-eaten candy tree, and then looked at the speed at which the mini-dragon was eating, and even felt a sense of guilt in his heart. Gradually, guilt turned into surprise, from surprise to jaw-dropping. This is, the god of hungry dreams. In the reverse world, Minos watched the mini-dragon eating food so hard and not wanting to worry about it, and his heart felt like a flood. What mother doesn't want her children to be able to eat more, be full, and not go hungry when they are outside? It has grown up, and become sensible. In the reverse world, on the sixth floating island, Minas, who rarely shed tears, was surprised, moved, and relieved, and could no longer control his eyes. Tears will fall freely only in the most sincere feelings. In the reverse world, who would have thought that Lord Minas, who is as high as a god in their eyes, would also have such emotional moments? Me. 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 Many Dragon doesn't want to make the mother of the reverse world, Minas, cry, because since childhood, Kuai Long has taught her that if a child makes his mother cry, that is the worst behavior. It wants to show a better, more outstanding, more powerful and more reassuring figure for Minas. Let Minas, the mother of the reverse world, stop worrying about it. Many Dragon, looking at this mountain, looking at this river, looking at the clouds in the sky. In his own dream world, he made the loudest and loudest cry. Mum. In the sky of the dream world, a ray of bright sunlight gradually appeared on the dimensional crack separated by dark rays below. The cold dimensional cracks, at this moment, slowly began to overlap under the warm sunshine. The dream area of the reverse world is no longer there, and the dream at this time, is the dream of the real world. Some people say that reality and what happens in dreams are opposite. However, in the real world of elves, certain things that happen in dreams will also bring about changes in reality. That voice longing for power, longing for evolution, longing to use its own efforts to stop the tears of the mother Minas who has reversed the world. It is a mini dragon, a declaration towards the elven world. The flames spitting out of the mini dragon's mouth. This is the first powerful move that the mini dragon has learned, flame spray. After the extremely hot fire, the moment a pillar of extremely cold light formed in the sky, the aura of the mini dragon suddenly increased. This is the second most powerful move that mini dragon has learned to master, freezing ray. The extremely cold light pillar formed by the freezing light shines even more dazzlingly under the refraction of the prism light. When the mini dragon's whole body began to be covered with a layer of golden light, the mini dragon's third most powerful move, 100,000 volts, rushed into the sky. Under this 100,000 volt move, the interior of the extremely cold beam of light suddenly shattered, and the scattered ice flakes bloomed like thousands of flowers. Beautiful, dazzling. More powerful and thick red anger formed from the mouth of the mini dragon. This dragon's anger gives the mini dragon the power of anger to inspire the powerful dragon attributes of dragon elves. It has grown up. In the reverse world, Minas watched as incredible moves appeared on the mini dragon one after another. In order to learn these moves, it must have suffered a lot, right? The corners of Minas's eyes were still shining brightly. The next second, in the lake, there was an extremely bright light. This is the light of evolution belonging to the mini dragon. Mum. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 802. Growing up requires experiencing many things. Human growth is not always smooth sailing along the way. Elves, too. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I cry. But there are always a few critical moments when the choice will be placed in front of you. Should you choose to break through it, or continue to stay where you are? The mini dragon that Yang Yu brought from the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace was initially stupid and confused and couldn't tell what was edible and what was inedible, even a piece of rough and hard coconut skin. It all thought it was a delicious food. Is it a fool? It looks like a mini Hanpi dragon. Yang Yu once thought that the reason why the mini dragon was so greedy was because there was almost no particularly delicious food in the East China Sea Dragon Palace. Maybe for Kuai Long, he was not a father who was good at raising children. Later, the mini dragon's appetite exceeded Yang Yu's imagination. If it weren't for Yang Yu's 30 million elf coin bonus for winning the national competition individual competition, as well as the large amount of elf resource benefits provided by a series of subsequent schools, Yang Yu felt that he was about to go bankrupt again. Fortunately, there is Dudu. You don't need to use relatively more expensive energy cubes to feed them at the beginning. You just need to make ordinary food more delicious. However, the excellent performance of the mini-dragon exceeded Yang Yu's expectations every time. While other elves are sleeping, the mini-dragon is eating and dreaming. While other elves were training, the mini-dragons were also eating. But Yang Yu also knew in his heart that for any elf, the foundation is the most important, let alone a mini-dragon with dragon attributes. This should be the first time that the mini-dragon has shown such an active desire to show off its power, just like Yang Yu had had the idea before. The reason why the mini-dragon has not chosen to evolve is because in its heart, there is an unforgettable obsession. This obsession is the eternal theme of the elf world. Evolve. Mini-dragon. Yang Yu's emotions were exactly the same as those of the mini-dragon. Under the induction of the power of the wave guide, he could even understand the urgent mood of the mini-dragon better than other trainers. This is why Lucario is willing to transfer an excess of wave guide power to Yang Yu. This is the best time for mini-dragons to evolve. Yeah. He clenched his fists forward blankly, and a wave of cheering breath spread out in the dreamland. GGG. Gengui Liahe often feels this kind of feeling more deeply than other people and other elves. There is so much resistance between these two separate worlds. Every twinkling star in the sky represents the people and elves who have passed away. Perhaps when they twinkle brightly, they are missing the real world in the reverse world. Being able to see such a picture. Jengar, what do you want to do? I'm not a cloth to wipe your tears. Darkrai felt like he had a nightmare, a huge nightmare. If he hadn't mastered the stance moves himself, otherwise. Darkrai looked at Gengui Liahe holding a black towel like Darkrai doll and wiping it on his face, feeling that he could not help but feel a twitch in his heart. My nightmare god is shameless. Darkrai thought carefully about what he did today. Face, what is that? Dear dream god Cresselia, today I actually became the dream god. Oh, please don't get me wrong, I did not do such a thing under the banner of the dream god. You don't have to come over to thank me in person, really. The bright light of evolution caught Darkray's eyes. In the elf world, at least in Darkray's impression, perhaps, there had never been such a terrifying sight. Is this the evolution of a mini-dragon? Darkrai was a little confused. The energy contained in this mini-dragon's body, is it a monster that appeared out of nowhere? This is the terrifying heritage of the mini-dragon. Under this high-pitched dragon cry that announces its evolution to the world, the majestic life force, at this moment, rolls as quickly as a wave, and the momentum formed seems to be waving out. An extremely powerful tornado. When the mini-dragon's body jumped up and rushed into the sky at this moment, the powerful dragon power released from the body formed an endless wave of dragon waves, just like the waves of evil spread by Darkrai. But this is a wave of power centered on the mini-dragon's body, in the sky, dominates. This is, Shinra Tianzhang. Myth. The mini-dragon's original ears are now, under the light of evolution, gradually growing into small wings. This is the key to the hack dragon's ability to fly. The snow-white wings add a noble image to the original mini-dragon's body. The small white dot on the center of the mini-dragon's eyebrows has now grown into a pointy white corner. Under the small white dot, the originally cute big white nose has gradually begun to shrink. However, it has shrunk to finally, there is still a small white dot on the tip of my nose. Perhaps the mini-dragon is reluctant to part with its big white nose, and in the process of evolution, it has retained the image of a delicate and clever little white nose. The biggest change was the slender body like a water snake, which gradually grew from a small mini-dragon into the slender body of a Harker dragon, which was a little less lazy and a little more mature. The body is covered with sapphire-colored scales, which are extremely delicate. Especially under the light of evolution, it is like thousands of stars are all concentrated on the body of Hakran. The most mysterious thing is the crystal-like blue orb at the bottom of Hakran's neck and chest. It contains the mysterious power to control the weather. After mastering 100,000 volts and freezing light, sunny days, rain, snow, and hail, it's no longer a difficult thing. In addition, on the tip of the little tail, there are two blue orbs, one large and one small. The mysterious symbol and mysterious power give Hakron a powerful strength beyond ordinary elves. Myth. Above the dome of the dreamland, in the dark sky filled with stars, under the call of Hakron, it seemed that some ancient voice was rumbling. Dragon meteors, are meteor clusters. Darkrai was shocked. What kind of terrible elf background is this? What kind of touching elf emotion is this? In Darkrai's memory, an elf once said such words in his ears. The meteor showers falling in the sky are actually the tears falling in the elven world. But how do you explain that this meteor cluster has the smell of cream? Turn the world upside down. The sky here is day and night. Because there are only stars in the reverse world, not the sun and the moon. There are many stars. Sometimes, the people and elves living on this floating continent can see the occasional shooting stars flashing in the sky. Every time a shooting star appears, it will make people feel happy. Make a wish, to make tomorrow better. Mina suddenly raised her brows and became vigilant subconsciously. However, when she raised her head and looked at the sky of the reverse world, she seemed to see several extremely clear meteors passing by. After the meteors, there was something in the sky. Slowly falling down, even. There is an indescribable sweet smell. Boy, I taste it. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 803. Mifu. 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 Still acting like a good dragon, Hakron turned around and quickly came to his mother Minas in the colorful light of the scales of the heart. He came to the ground from flying, with wings like ears on both sides of his head. Gradually it began to shrink. When Hakron needs to fly, these two small wings can expand and shrink according to his thoughts. At this time, Hakron was still a little uneasy. At the same time, his bright black eyes, like diamonds, shone with full expectation. Xiao Long Long, you did a great job. So proud of you. In a simple and unpretentious compliment, Minas in this image also bent his hair like fins and made a thumbs-up shape. Mifu. 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 This should be the happiest moment for children, and this is what Hakron is looking forward to. No matter what it does, no matter how much it does, it is all in exchange for a compliment from its mother, Minas. The cheering Hakron has never been so happy. It twists and turns. No matter whether it evolves or not, no matter how noble its current form looks, in front of its mother Minas, it is still a baby dragon. Let me meet your trainer again. He should be an amazing human being, right? Mif. Hakron quickly wrapped its tail around Yang Yu's feet, then gently leaned its head on Yang Yu's shoulder, signaling Yang Yu to follow it. For this movement, if he was still in the mini-dragon period, the little guy could only lean against Yang Yu's knees at most. Now, watching the growth of the mini-dragon, Yang Yu felt a burst of emotion in his heart. Is this, calling me? Yang Yu was a little surprised. I even started to feel nervous again for a moment. This is a feeling, like meeting your parents. Although he had seen Minas in the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, Yang Yu was still very nervous. At this time, the colorful images on the scales of the heart began to become blurry. Yang Yu's heart trembled. Is the time coming soon? Minas quietly looked at Yang Yu's face that appeared on the lake. Although there were some changes, Minas could still recognize him at a glance. He was the young trainer he saw last time through the induction of beautiful scales. Minas smiled happily. Because of the induction in his mind, Minas felt the power of a waveguide from Yang Yu's body. Thousands of words gathered into two words. Thanks. Afterwards, Minas continued to exhort his precious little dragon. Take good care of your trainer, he is worth following you for the rest of your life. Mif. Hakran nodded vigorously. The light of the scales of the heart gradually began to flicker intermittently, which made Hakran's heart become anxious again. Mifu. 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 Minas comforted her softly. In front of her eyes, the figures of Hakran and trainer Yang Yu on the lake gradually began to blur. Minas also wanted to see more of the little dragon in front of him. Don't cry, Xiaolonglong, maybe we can meet each other soon. When the light of the heart scales completely dimmed, Hakran frantically wanted to find his mother Minas, and even wanted to awaken the energy contained in the heart scales, but still no movement. The original rainbow light of the scales of the heart has dimmed slightly. Mif. When Hakran turned his head and turned his hopeful gaze to Darkrai again, Darkrai blinked in embarrassment. He's still here chewing on the trunk of the candy tree. Unfortunately, it seems that it is a bit difficult to chew because of the weak teeth. Darkrai was thinking about whether he should learn some evil moves like biting or crushing, which would make it much easier to chew. Cough, cough, cough. Darkrai felt the eagerness and confusion in Hakran's eyes, and almost swallowed the food in his mouth. He coughed quickly and said, "The scales of the heart only have so much energy. It's not easy to be able to persist until now, isn't it?" "Is the heart scale a one-time item or a rechargeable item?" Yang Yu asked directly. Darkrai waved his hand, took out a bucket from some nook and cranny of his space, and quickly filled it with a bucket of moo milk, making his throat feel a little better. "Of course it's charged. If it's a disposable thing, can it still follow my nightmare god, Darkrai?" Mif. Hakran wanted to know how to recharge. The eager Hakran did not care about Darkrai as he drank the moo milk from his moo milk river like this. Darkrai's eyes fell on Yang Yu, and the aura on his body became a little sinister. He said in a very serious voice, "Human, look, what I said is correct, right? Once you use your method to connect the dreams of the real world with the dreams of the reverse world, you will be craving for dream connections again and again just like now. In the end, you will be lost in your own dream world and unable to wake up. And this is the price of power." This time, Darkrai waved and recalled the scales of his heart back into his hands. "Humans, elves, including me, everyone is greedy." Yang Yu thought and said directly, "Darkrai, tell me, what are the conditions?" "Darkrai, can you please let me finish? This comes directly to the table. Do I still want to lose face? Human beings, cunning and cunning." Darkrai coughed slightly, and his tone softened slightly, but he was still serious. "The scales of the heart communicate not the dream of the reversed world, but the real reversed world. The Minas you see are also real, including the evolution of the mini dragon. Although this is a dream, with Ida where clay is, everything that happens, is real." Darkrai paused and his tone suddenly rose. "Including the evolution of the mini dragon. It is indeed magical for ghost elves to fall into dreams, but everything that happens in dreams will not happen immediately in reality." Seeing that Genguilahe was a little angry, Darkrai continued to speak, "Because ghost elves can only serve as a guide when they are in dreams, using dreams to drive people or elves to do a certain thing, even if it triggers a nightmare. Once a person or elf wakes up from sleep, the nightmare will be interrupted immediately, and the dream will dissipate. If there is no dream, how can we talk about dreaming?" However, Darkrai's tone changed, and his chest even puffed up a little higher. "I'm different. Dreams are reality, and reality is dreams. The mini dragon evolved in the dream, and it must have evolved in reality, too. This is something that ghost elves can't do in their dreams. If someone or an elf wakes up from the nightmare I am in, they will find that the real nightmare is always after waking up in reality. Because I am Darkrai, the nightmare god. Yang Yu. Genguilahe. Dudu, Ovo. Yang Yu felt that he had to give Darkrai a round of applause. 666. Although Darkray's style of painting is somewhat funny written all over it, Darkray's words are good. Precisely because of Darkrai, the evolution of the mini-dragon in the dream will naturally complete its evolution in reality, and even the meteor swarm finally mastered will also be mastered in reality. In the elven world, there are only two gods of dreams who can possess such incredible power. Nightmare god Darkrai. Cresselia, the god of dreams. Darkrai thinks this human trainer is a bit pleasing to the eye. Not bad, I like it. How about this little dream monster, is it cool or not? Do you want to learn from me and become my teacher? You have the potential to become the nightmare god. Gengui Liaheo, oh. Kill Mat Bai Mao and give me a crushing blow. Yang Yu. Yeah. I dazedly touched my head. It seemed that I couldn't control the situation. Yang Yu looked at the famous scene that appeared again, sighed, looked at the evolved Hakran beside him, and reached out to touch his neck gently. Poppy. Q. The kids have a brand new mount. Babble. Frost Milk Fairy came out of the elf ball brought by Digipi in a daze, looked at the surrounding environment, and then looked at the long Hakran in front of her. Well, I must still be dreaming. So he rubbed his eyes, pouted, and took small steps back to the elf ball. Sleep. Turn the world upside down. The sixth floating island where Minas is located passed by the meteor, and after the meteor passed by, it brought the fragrant smell of cream. Minas closed his eyes and gently smelled the fragrance around him that did not belong to the reverse world. Only then did Minas understand that what was happening in front of him was a real scene. I saw Xiao Longlong, I saw Xiao Longlong's evolution, I saw Xiao Longlong's trainer Yang Yu. Is it the help of the dream god? Minas guessed in his mind. Only the god of dreams and the god of nightmares have such magical abilities, the ability to telepathically connect the real world and the reverse world using the scales of the heart. However, Lord Nightmare God was naturally ignored by Minas. It must be Dream God Sama. Minas closed his eyes, feeling devoutly grateful. Damn bastard, scumbag, white-haired hooligan. The light of the full moon had already dissipated in the sky early. In the end, Cresselia, the god of dreams, still did not find clay during this full moon. You actually used your heart scales to not contact me first, but instead contacted Minas, scumbag. 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 Damn it. Darkrai, wait and see how I will use the power of the moon to beat you to death. When the first ray of sunshine in the morning appears among the pearl forest. An elf quietly opened his eyes. Me, Fu. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 804. Yang Yu opened his eyes. Looking at the visible light on the tent, he stood up and rubbed his head. Somewhat confused. I don't know if it's because I stayed in the mini-dragon's dream for too long, which made me feel like I was in a state of depression when I woke up in the morning, and I felt like my body was hollowed out. He tapped his shoulder and confirmed that this was reality. Yang Yu didn't have the ability to bring these things into dreams. At this time, the dream monster has returned to the state of the little dream monster, and this Digipi is shrinking into the egg. The two little elves must have consumed too much energy in the dream of the mini-dragon last night, and now, still resting peacefully. But what about the mini-dragon? Mifu. Surprises are often like this. When Yang Yu was still a little confused, a head poked out of the tent. Under the blue head, the white tip of the nose and the white horn growing out of the eyebrows. The most easily identifiable thing is that this sign belongs to H.A. Croton's unique wings are on the left and right sides of its head. Hakran. Mif. In the originally dark tent, under the suddenly bright light, the figure of Hakran still gave Yang Yu a complete shock. When you wake up from the dream, everything that happened is real. In the dream, Darkrai was right. Evolution in dreams will also evolve in reality, and it is precisely because of the existence of Darkrai that everything that happens in dreams can happen in reality. But, where's Darkrai? Where have you gone? Yang Yu hugged Hakran's neck, feeling like my mini dragon has just grown up, a real touch, and the action of staying here and doing Tai Chi outside the venue of the Pearl Forest. Mini dragon, you've evolved into Hack Dragon, that's great. Yang Yu's words were like a new trainer who was training elves for the first time. However, it can be said that the evolution of the mini dragon really affected Yang Yu and the hearts of other elves in Yang Yu. The little dream monster slept very sweetly. It was obvious that it was having a sweet dream. Looking at the pointed little tiger fangs exposed at the corners of the little dream monster's mouth, Yang Yu chuckled and shook his head. The little guy must be thinking of scaring something again. Yang Yu came outside the tent. A new day is an extremely beautiful day. Hakran's figure finally appeared in front of Yang Yu in reality. Miff. Hakran gently touched the tip of Yang Yu's nose with the tip of his white nose. He kept remembering the instructions of his mother Minas in his mind. While following trainer Yang Yu carefully. Also have a full meal. Hakran is hungry. It was still the familiar feeling. When Yang Yu saw Hakalong directly focusing on his pocket, for some reason, Yang Yu felt an indescribable emotion in his heart. Today is the first day of your evolution, let Dede cook a big meal for you. Mifu. 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 Looking at Hakran's appearance when he is cheering for joy, he looks like a great beauty. Under this noble appearance, he still has a naughty childish heart. Perhaps this is because Hakran still has a small white dot on his nose. Reason. To put it this way, Darkrai must be an old naughty boy. As soon as Yang Yu thought about it and said it to himself, he felt as if there was an extra warning in his mind. You are the old naughty boy, I am less than 10,000 years old this year. Yang Yu. What the hell? Darkrai. Human, can you also sleep on grass? Yang Yu was really shocked now. What the hell happened to Darkrai? Although Yang Yu didn't seem to be particularly scared when he was in the dream, but after waking up, Darkrai is possessed. Didn't he suddenly become a nightmare god? Yang Yu closed his eyes and quickly thought about what happened in the dream last night. Why hasn't Darkrai returned to Crescent Island yet? Why doesn't he stay here? In dreams, everyone is bold. Especially when there was Gengui Laohei in the dream, and Darkrai, the god of hungry dreams, couldn't escape from Gengui Laohei because he was hungry, so what, it was overwhelming. Although the person who was crushed in the end was still a stand-in, the stand-in was pretty miserable and looked miserable. Why are you still here? Aren't you going home? Yang Yu's body became a little stiff. This is how a normal person should react, being possessed by the nightmare god. I'm so stupid, who the hell wouldn't feel scared? Going home? It's boring to go home. Now that you're out, let's play more and then go back. You know, I'm the only elf on Crescent Island. Everyone talks to me. Besides sleeping, it's better to go to the elf world. Ah. Everyone here is talented and speaks nicely. I like it here very much. Yang Yu. From this moment, let the world feel pain? Yang Yu's mind was a little confused. Human, tell me, you have used up the rainbow crystal energy in my heart scales. Do you have to compensate me for something? After all, I, Darkrai, have helped you, so you can't burn bridges by crossing the river. The rainbow crystal energy of the heart scale can only be found in the rainbow. If I go back to Crescent Island, there will be no rainbow on Crescent Island. Since humans know Crescent Island, you should know what kind of place it is. Tell me where the rainbow. Yang Yu answered almost subconsciously, can you return my wish to me? Darkrai. Wishes, What wishes? What are you talking about as a human being? Perhaps Yang Yu did not use a strange tone, but just said it in a basically normal tone, which did not cause any strange reaction from Darkrai. Ahem, cough, you're right. Yang Yu nodded quickly. Indeed, if Hakran wants to see his mother Minas in the reverse world again, the help of Nightmare God Darkrai is indispensable. The scales of the heart are now only found in Darkrai. Actually, you have been ready to see me for a long time, right? You have even made countermeasures to deal with me. Of course, I am not referring to the overweight Gengar, but to your Slowking. Darkrai was not surprised at all. This situation is normal. Who is Darkrai? Nightmare God. Darkrai himself is afraid of being so cruel. This seems to be, not unreasonable. The King-level Slowking who has mastered the power of wave guides and can use wave missiles, and you. Darkrai's voice stopped suddenly. I didn't know it, but I was shocked. Wyuko, are you a human or a ghost? How come your wave guide power is so strong? Darkrai almost made his true form appear in the real world. Yang Yu. This Darkrai, I'm afraid the place he lives in is not Crescent Island, but actually Ziyuan wearing Crescent Island, right? King Ziyuan is so terrifying. By the way, it just goes right with Reggie Rock's wisdom core. Seeing that Yang Yu seemed to be thinking, Darkrai nodded with satisfaction. Darkrai would tell Yang Yu, he hadn't come out of the island for a long time, and he could no longer find his way back to Crescent Island. Already? Of course this is impossible. It seems that this human being is easy to fool, and Darkrai feels that his operation has been stable. However, it would be great if I could accept the little dream demon as my apprentice. It's a pity that Gengar is a bit overweight. Darkrai feels that his small body can't handle the fighting moves with such a big belly. This was an elf that Darkrai accidentally provoked. According to his own bottom line, Darkrai would not use a killing move like the Dark Hole that could make the elf sink into a nightmare. He would just treat it as a physical exercise. Even if you sleep for too long, you should move around. Darkrai, I heard that there is a Gyarados Megastone on your Crescent Island. Darkrai. Where did this human come from? I'm afraid it's not possessed by a devil. Who said this? He deserves to be struck by lightning. My family doesn't have it, my family doesn't have it, Darkrai denied it repeatedly. Yang Yu coughed lightly, his expression extremely strange. Lightning Bird said it? Darkrai. Book title, I've stopped being Dr. Elf a long time ago. As the only 5 elf doctors at Imperial University, Yeshu woke up and found that he had traveled back in time to 2020, the first anniversary of the elf invasion. Here, the elves have just invaded, and the world has fallen into chaos. In the early stages of the integration of chaos and order, Yeshu rises along with the elves' craze. And he was quickly ordered to prepare for the upcoming First Trainer World League. He recruited talented trainers from all over the country and trained them to be unique and powerful. A different college life begins here. Pokémon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 805. Pearl Forest, Elf University Camp. Wan Kai's didn't know when he came back here, it felt like he had a dream. In the dream, he seemed to be scared awake by a cursed doll, and the cursed doll's strength was accidentally promoted to the gym level. Curse the doll, curse the doll. Wan Kai's desperately wants to know if this is true. After all, it happened at night, and now his mind is buzzing, as if the sound of the ghost tide is echoing in his ears. Gee! Almost as soon as Wan Kai's opened his mouth, a rag doll-like elf floated out from beside Wan Kai's with a happy smile on the corner of his mouth like a zipper, and a cloth belt floating behind his head. He looked so chic at this time. Gym level. Really gym level. Wan Kai's rubbed his eyes and cursed that the aura exuding from the doll was much higher than the previous elite level. What was happening in front of him was not a dream. Great. Cursed doll, you are finally a gym level elf. We have the opportunity to go to the Elf Alliance to take the assessment and become a gym level trainer. Wan Kaizu suddenly hugged the cursed doll tightly. GG. The physical touch of the cursed doll was like cashmere, which made Wan Kaizu feel even more at ease. Yang Yu. It was Yang Yu's little dream demon that triggered the ghost tide. I don't know what kind of harvest his little dream demon will have this time. If he still doesn't choose to evolve, then the little dream demon's background, even as scary as a mini dragon. Mifu. Wan Kaizu's eyelids twitched. It seemed that some spirit was flying over the tent where he was. The passing black shadow slightly dimmed the light in the tent. It's a long elf, Minas. Gyarados, Wan Kaizu shook his head. Yang Yu was the only one with Minas. Minas's voice was yi, and Gyarados was not even needed. Having said that, it was a roar that shook the world. The monarch snake? The monarch snake can't fly. What other elf is so long? Wan Kaizu gestured in the tent. Just in time, the cursed doll was promoted to the gym level and went out to show off to Lao Cai. If it were not an ordinary friend, Wan Kaizu would not bother to do this. Well, Lao Cai. Go for some excitement. Gardevoir, come out. Cursed doll, let's go and find Lao Cai together. Sana. When Wan Kaizu was about to open the curtain of the tent and take a look at the elf that just flew by, his mind subconsciously thought, it seems that except for Minas, the mini dragons are also this long, right? No. The mini dragon can't fly, but the Harker dragon can. It can't be that the little dream demon caused a wave of ghost tides, and he didn't evolve. The mini dragon evolved, right? Wan Kaizu shook his head. How is this possible? The ghost tide is a festival of ghosts. What are the dragon elves doing in it? It's not a ghost dragon. The teachers who are leading the team here, do any of them have Harker dragons? There are Tanabata bluebirds and double axe battle dragons. It seems that Harker dragons are only available to the dragon messenger's daughter. She is currently fighting in the Pearl Forest. How can the one-day finals come out? When Wan Kaizu raised his head and prepared to look in the direction where the elves were flying in the sky. Sigma. GGG. The cursed doll bowed in the direction of Wan Kaizu. Boss, even if the cursed doll is promoted to the gym level, Wan Kaizu is still the same boss. Damn it, Yang Yu. Hack Dragon. Wan Kaizu's jaw dropped. Who would dare to believe this? The fact that the cursed doll can reach the gym level means that everything Wan Kaizu saw last night is real, and what is in front of him now is also real. Maybe someone can't help explain it. After Ghost Tide, the mini dragon evolved into the Hack Dragon, and what about the little dream monster? The cursed doll, look, is it a little dream demon or a dream demon? If you are a little dream demon, stretch out your left hand, and if it is a dream demon, stretch your right hand. The cursed doll stretched out its left hand without hesitation. Wan Kaizu. Is this really justified? Come on, slap me in the face with your left hand, gently, so that I wake up. Wan Kaizu stared blankly at the slender blue figure of the Harker dragon in the sky. This feeling is still in a dream. Cursed doll. At this time, there was another elf next to Wan Kaizu again. It was the elf round land shark hatched from the elf egg obtained during the national competition last year. Unlike the mini dragon, the round land shark still needs a long period of growth. From the elf egg stage to evolution, if Wan Kaizu cultivates it well, it will still take nearly 2 years to have a chance. Watching the mini dragon that he was fighting with evolve into a hack dragon flying in the sky. The eyes of Yuanlu shark reveal full of longing. She wants to fly too. Poppy. Q. The children have woken up. Although they are still a little confused, after letting Hakran take them for a walk in the air in the morning, they are basically completely energetic. It has evolved from a mini dragon to a hack dragon. For children, this is a brand new mount. In addition to Little Bayo Bayo, there are new mounts available for riding. If Little Rampage's violent and domineering appearance and powerful flying power are the explosive Hummer among flying elves, then Hakran at this time is the absolutely luxurious noble Lacan. However, Hakran's head, the wings with fluctuating airflow, are slightly larger than usual. This deformation fully demonstrates the charm of Harker Dragon during flight. Good guy, Yang Yu, your mini dragon has evolved. Wu Yuqian heard the unfamiliar voice from the tent and came out of the tent immediately. After all, he had to go to Yang Yu's place for breakfast later, but now he saw. In the sky, on the back of that elegant blue water snake-like elf, isn't it Yang Yu? This is Hakran. The evolution of the mini dragon. Wu Yuqian quickly summoned Bai Diao and caught up with him. Looking at Yang Yu's Hakasaurus, he couldn't help but be surprised. After all, this was just a mini dragon yesterday, but today, how could it evolve into a Hakasaurus? I didn't hear any commotion. Ha ha ha, Brother Qian, my mini dragon has finally evolved. How is it? Is it pretty? Yang Yu felt like a showman, but he couldn't control his joy. Childish is childish, but Hakran itself needs to be familiar with the ability to fly. In the future, elf battles can be conducted on land, sea, and air. Now flying is a kind of training integrated into daily life. Mif. Choo choo choo. The little Matcha Deifuku on Bai Diao's head jumped up and down a few times with joy. It was obvious that it felt very beautiful. Congratulations. After evolving from the mini dragon to the Harker dragon, the maximum power of the moves such as Flame Jet, Freezing Beam, and 100,000 volts can be increased again. When you go back, your students will probably start crying again. Wu Yuqian laughed, he understood very well. During the mini dragon period, Yang Yu had already taught his students how powerful the mini dragon was. There were even a few students who couldn't even defeat the mini dragon. Now it has evolved into a hacker dragon, and even Wu Yuqian began to fight for those students. Begin to observe silence. There is such a professor with abnormal strength. Not long after school started, I could have managed to defeat Professor Yang Yu's weaker elves. Now, the mini dragon has evolved into a hack dragon. What should the students do? At this time, Yang Yu was reminded by senior brother Qian that his mini dragon had evolved, and his data also needed to be modified on the Elf Battle Teaching Edition app. But this time the little dream demon also had a huge harvest. If those students can't even beat Yang Yu's mini dragon and little dream monster on the app, what else can they do? Do you want to join the Elf Guaguabuletin Frog? The capital of the country, Yanjing Elf University. In the school's forest grounds, you can see many trainers and their elves training here every day. Among them, the most eye-catching one is the elf standing on a rock meditating. AGA Ninja Frog, Croaking Frog. Quack quack. Suddenly, the croaking frog, who was undergoing environmental awareness training with Lily Sakura Koga Ninja, shivered. At the same time, two class groups in the graduate elf battle course exploded. The fear of being dominated by Professor Yang in the Elf Battle Teaching Edition app is about to deepen again. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Renhuo Xiangxiao. Chapter 806. Class 1, CAI Swanyi, I have a very sad news for everyone. Please be mentally prepared. Just today, Professor Yang's mini dragon has evolved into a Harker dragon. Class 1 Chiu Menki colon. Class 2 Lucy Yo colon. Class 1 Chen Bingkai colon. Class 2 Lutang, damn it. Damn it. Lao Cai, Lao Cai, Lao Cai, please take it easy, this news, don't. At Professor Yang Yu, Professor Yang doesn't want it, I can't even defeat the mini-dragon. Class 1 Fang Jian. I worship Professor Yang. Class 2 Zhou Dandan at Professor Yang Yu, Professor Yang is so powerful. Professor Yang is so handsome. Please ask for photos of Hakran and Minas color. Class 1 Chiu Menki, Zhou Dandan, what are you doing? There is a traitor in our group. Teaching assistant, Lily Sakura, Professor Yang Yu is really amazing. When Cai Xuanyi saw Yang Yu's Hakran appearing in front of him, his first thought was not Professor Yang is awesome, but it's over, because Professor Yang is awesome, basically anyone can because of that. Cai Xuanyi thought that after the national competition, Professor Yang would start the training tasks and tests in the past few weeks as soon as he returned to school. As for the assessment elves, Hakran, do you want to know? Already unreasonably strong during the mini-dragon period, it evolved into a Hakasaur, and it was a Hakasaurus that could change the weather. If it is a sunny day, the power of the flame jet will be increased. If it's snowing, find out about the freezing light. Once it rains, who can withstand the almost certain hit of 100,000 volts or even thunder? Oh, it's over. Play GG among the smiling MMP. But don't forget that in addition to the offline assessment in the venue, there is also the online assessment on the Elf Battle Teaching Edition app. The evolution of the mini-dragon in reality will also add and modify the evolved virtual data. This means that these students will receive the severe beating from Professor Yang Ha Kalong on the app for the first time. This is simply too difficult. Lao Cai, Lao Cai, Lao Cai. What's wrong with you, Lao Cai? Wan Kai's who pushed Cai Xuanyi's shoulder, Lao Cai, was confused. Nothing, I just thought about the elf battle assessment after school. What I have to face is not a mini-dragon, but a Harker dragon. Cai Xuanyi looked up at the sky, with an unspeakable melancholy expression on his face. My grades. It's so difficult for me. Wan Kai's who understands, he understands so clearly. In this regard, Wan Kai's who could only look at Cai Xuanyi with extremely sympathetic eyes. The pressure of being a student under Professor Yang Yu. Not too exciting at all. The professors who teach elf battles at elf universities, especially at top universities like Yanjing and Xingjing, are basically in their 40s or 50s, and some are even older. At this age, it is basically impossible to cultivate elves or conduct high-intensity elf training, regardless of physical strength or energy. At the gym level, training without the participation of trainers will have no effect on the elves. Basically, the level of professors has basically reached the ceiling. Of course, there are still trainers who are still strong, but overall, the level of trainers of professors has basically remained stable. Yang Yu is different. The professor's strength has improved faster than the student's ability to cultivate elves. He originally had a chance to fight a dozen mini-dragons, but now the mini-dragons have evolved. Difficult. It's so difficult. But Wan Kai's who also has a feeling that human strength seems to be improving a bit quickly. Doesn't it mean that it becomes more difficult as you go to the back? Why does it feel like Yang Yu is just playing around here? Wan Kai's whose heart aches. Lao Cai, my cursed doll is already at the gym level. Look, when will you break through? Wan Kai's who decided to transfer this heartache to Lao Cai. This is a joke between friends. Cai Xuanyi. Go away, you bastard. Wuko, human being, why do you still have half a rock god pillar here? I almost didn't recognize it after it put on the vest. On Yang Yu's side, Lei Jilanglong Rock Yan consumes a lot of power these days. In addition, it is inconvenient to charge directly and efficiently in this tent. Otherwise, there will be a power outage in the camps of colleges and universities across the country, which will be a big problem. Something happened. Reggie Locke is almost in a semi-dormant state. Darkrai, who was possessed by Yang Yu's shadow, became even more curious about Yang Yu, a human trainer. The core of Reggie-Locke's wisdom. After all, half of the rock god pillar, the patron saint of the elven world, would actually be in the hands of such a human trainer. He even used Rumble Rock's vest to disguise himself, which made Darkrai look a little surprised. It hasn't come out in thousands of years. The changes in the elf world have been too great. The rock god pillar actually follows a human trainer. How incredible! The following Darkrai said is not his current possession situation. After all, the rock god pillar came out of the elf ball, which means that the core of Reggie-Locke's wisdom has completely accepted Yang Yu. The human trainer became his elf partner. At the same time, Darkrai remembered the answer to the lightning bird given by Yang Yu before, and in his dream, he even thought of the incredible method to help the mini-dragon meet Minas in the reversed world. At least, from Darkrai's point of view, this human trainer was someone he could trust. Being able to have such great courage to promote such an almost impossible thing, in the end, successfully achieved the ultimate goal while being safe. This is all due to me, Darkrai. Cough cough cough. Do you want to meet Reggie Rock? Yang Yu asked his question directly through the power of waveguide. This is like moving at will. As long as Darkrai accepts the mind transmission of the power of the waveguide, he can directly talk to Yang Yu. You don't need to use your voice to reveal your presence. For Darkrai, this is a great convenience. Forget it, if Reggie-Locke knew that I was possessing you, why wouldn't he hit me with an electromagnetic cannon? If there is a chance in the future, let's wait until the time comes. Darkrai and the patron saint of the elves in the real world are not at odds with each other, but meeting each other is a troublesome thing, even if Darkrai does not intend to release malice in the real world now. Human, let's talk about it. Since you mentioned Gyarados Megastone, it means that there should be Gyarados in your elf. Speaking of which, the super-evolved Gyarados also has evil spirits. The power of the element, speaking of the power of the evil element. Darkrai coughed slightly. After the Gyarados has evolved, its evil power is still not as powerful as mine. So, let me see your Gyarados first. If it is not well cultivated, then forget it. Having the Gyarados Megastone is all for nothing. It is true that Megastones can enhance the life level of elves, but not all elves have the ability to qualify for Mega Evolution, so, hey, human, why did you take out 2 Pokeballs? Darkrai was stunned. In the shadow, Darkrai was puzzled. I have 2 Gyarados, so of course I have to get 2 Pokeballs. Yang Yu also followed Darkrai's previous example and coughed lightly, with a weird look on his face and full confidence at the same time. In the dream, Darkrai had not seen Yang Yu's Gyarados. In reality, neither the Salted Fish King nor Little Gyarados had appeared yet. After all, today is the last day of the national competition, and all the teachers are busy, waiting for the final results. Yang Yu didn't want their work to be affected by the roars of Salted Fish King and Little Bayo Bayo. Do you want to see the big one or the small one? Looking at the red and white Pokeball in Yang Yu's left hand and the red and white Pokeball in his right hand, and then looking at the faint smile on Yang Yu's face, Darkrai fell into confusion for a while. Darkrai, are you still human? Familiar characters paired with familiar elves, double the happiness. Isn't it beautiful? Introduction. In front of the 10,000 army formation, Zhang Jiayao came to say, Thunder Lord, help me. Huang Tian's thundering force exhausted the fate of the Han dynasty suppressed by Emperor Yan, and kicked off the decline. At Hulao Pass, the Flying Bear army, composed of heavy mud and horses, led by Li Ju, fought to the death with Gong Sun Zan's flaming Ma Yikong, setting off a chaotic war. Then, another 10 years passed. In the western region beyond the Great Wall, Dongzhou, who was deceived by Sun or Gengui, marched all the way to Europe and conquered Europe, then left and started the white slave trade. In the Central Plains, Soon he commanded tens of thousands of water elves to start the annual South to North Water Diversion Project, leading the Han people into a new era. Hold water in your mouth, fill your belly with water, hold urine in your bladder, and wait until you reach the Guanzhong Dam to spit it out. 10 tons of water for one tree fruit, and you can choose any flavor. Note, the protagonist's name is Sun or Sun Chuang's son or Sun Yu's younger brother. This is not a typo. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 807. Darkrai didn't know what Yang Yu's mentality was like raising two identical elves by himself, let alone Gyarados. But what does this one big and one small mean? Who wants to see a baby Gyarados? Of course you have to look at the big ones. After the results of the competition here come out, I will show you the big salted fish king, Yang Yu replied. This in itself is an opportunity to show your strength. As Darkrai said, if the Gyarados is not cultivated well, even with the Gyarados Megastone, the Mega Evolution of the Gyarados cannot be maintained for too long, which requires an extremely powerful body to support it. Otherwise, it is a waste. Yang Yu has absolute confidence. At least from Yang Yu's current perspective, his salted fish king should be the best bred Gyarados in the world. Little Gyarados, at least at the gym level, is also extremely well bred. Of excellence. Sometimes, when it's time to show off the strength of your wrist, you should show off your hands. A gentleman hides his weapon in his body and waits for the time to move. Only in this way can we have an equal opportunity to talk to Darkrai. Don't be shocked when the time comes, Yang Yu reminded you friendly. Darkrai was happy in the shadow, smiling and shaking. This human trainer is a bit interesting. Darkrai, the nightmare god, has always been frightening to humans and elves, so why is it now reversed? He needs humans to remind him not to be frightened. We'll see. Darkrai went into hiding. The cream-flavored meteors that fell in his dream were still hidden in the sleeves of his clothes. This time, he had time to savor the smell of these meteor clusters. It's a pity that Hakron is not dreaming now, and you can only go to its dreamland to eat and drink at night. Bringing things from dreams into reality, or bringing things from reality into dreams, is as simple as a daily routine for Darkrai. I couldn't go home, so I found a boarding place that took care of food, housing, and travel. This day is really cool. However, Darkrai took out a card with some depression. It was something similar to an entry visa for alien elves, and it also had Darkrai's paw print stamped on it. In the elf world, times have changed. Darkrai put the card away. It had the mark of Gengui on it. Obviously, he was worried that Darkrai would cause trouble here. How could Darkrai not care about these things? It's just that I can't accept the little dream demon as my apprentice. This matter is a bit difficult. That Gengar is obviously the little dream monster's master. Could it be? In the shadow, Darkrai's eyes moved and fell on Hakron. Do I really want to accept a Hakron with the potential of Hungry Dream God as my disciple? Darkrai looked at the meteor cream in his hand. This was a brand new type of food he had never seen before. Let him smell it. So delicious. The end of the forest team competition in the national competition is approaching, and the school teams with the highest points are still the top elf universities. There is basically no change, but the ranking order is changing. Yang Yu felt the madness in the camp. Every school camp made the sound of howling ghosts and wolves. If Yang Yuzhen hadn't personally participated in the national competition and led the team, he would never have thought that the teachers of Elf University would also have such crazy moments. The higher the ranking, the fiercer the competition. Even in these schools, the voices of teachers are rising one after another. There are even teachers at the gate of the camp summoning elves to shout louder than the other side. In terms of momentum, we must not lose. So the real reason why the school sent me here is because on this last day, King Salted Fish and Little Bayo Bayo came to town. Yang Yu thought about it for himself, and of course he just thought about it. No matter what the situation was, Yang Yu naturally wanted to show the momentum of his alma mater outside. Northwest Elf University directly sent Wu Yukin to let the supergiant Clawmantis compete with other teachers' elves. However, in the face of the super evolution of the gym-level giant Clawmantis, the teachers' elves were naturally scum. Cai Swanyi was also shouting vigorously. This battle was not only fought inside the Pearl Forest, but also outside the Pearl Forest. The rankings haven't been settled yet, so let's improve the momentum first. If the ranking is higher, then this wave will be profitable. Even if you lose but not lose the formation, it's not a loss. Yang Yu actually wanted to see how Wang Kaizu was fighting with other schools. If he opened his mouth, it would be very lethal. You humans, well, sometimes you feel quite stupid. Darkrai smashed his mouth, and his mouth was full of creamy taste, but Darkrai liked this taste very much. Yang Yu shrugged. Since everyone is cooperating with the performance, of course Yang Yu can't turn a blind eye. Teacher Guo Peng's neck is even red from shouting. At this time, how can Yang Yu not help? Darkrai, you have to be ready. Don't you want to see a big Gyarados? I'll let you see a big one now. Yang Yu slowly walked out of the tent with a smile. Darkrai became a little curious. Listening to the tone of this human trainer, he seemed to be very confident in himself. This was a good thing. He could have a king-level slow king at this age, and he also had incredible thoughts and understandings. Darkrai began to look forward to it. He wanted to see what kind of Gyarados this human would come up with to surprise him. It is not that easy to gain the approval of his nightmare god Darkrai and take the Gyarados Megastone from his hands. Although Darkrai knows little about the current elf world, he has his own judgment. It is true that Gyarados itself has powerful physical attack capabilities. Darkrai wants to see how the Gyarados in the hands of this human trainer compares with the overlord-level Gyarados in his mind. What a difference! Darkrai has his own judgment standard in his heart. If it's okay, it's okay. It's just a Gyarados Megastone. It may be extremely precious to others, but for Darkrai, it's just when he was wandering around the world. It's just a stone I picked up that has some use. Of course, if you want to obtain it, in addition to proving your strength, there are other costs. This national competition. Yang Yu feels that he is very destined for this event, and he can gain huge gains during the national competition. This time, through the realization of the power of the Wave Guide, Dede's strength was successfully promoted to the king level. Under the powerful integration of the superpower elf itself, the fighting wave missile formed by the power of the Wave Guide, coupled with the original mastery of Dede. Basics of fighting moves. Greatly increased strength. This time, Yang Yu and the elves helped the mini-dragon realize his wish and successfully contacted the Mother Venus in the reverse world. At the same time, the evolution of the mini-dragon and a series of new skills mastered during the evolution of the mini-dragon big move. If we can help little Bayo Bayo solve the problem of Gyarados Megastone again, this time, it will not only be a double happiness, but a triple happiness. Nightmare God. Perhaps for other trainers and other elves, it is their nightmare. However, for Yang Yu, this is a real dream. All of this comes from Yang Yu's own full strength and confidence, and the source of Yang Yu's strength and confidence comes from King Salted Fish, from Dede, from Minas, Xia Bayo Bayo, and every other elf. This feeling. Yang Yu's heart was surging. He held Salty Fish King's elf ball in his hand and raised it towards the sky. Salted Fish King, let's go together. Let the nightmare god Darkrai shock us. Come out, Salted Fish King. In the red and white pokeball, a strong light points straight into the blue sky. Feeling the turbulence in Yang Yu's heart, under the communication of the power of the wave guide, the figure of the salted fish king, was covered with a layer of bloody crimson. Roar. This is, the original evil power. Lying on the grass. The body of the scarlet Gyarados, under the afternoon sun, shines as if its whole body is burning with flames. Nightmare level Gyarados. Pokemon's character master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 808. The salted fish king took off into the sky in the form of a scarlet Gyarados, and with this roar that went straight up to the sky, it was a perfect ending to the forest team competition of the national competition. As the elf who has been accompanying Yang Yu for the longest time and has given Yang Yu a lot of headaches along the way, every time he appears, some are hilarious and some are surprising. After all, such a big carp can be used as a suitcase to hit people. As the salted fish king evolves from the carp king. This is the beginning of Yang Yu's rise. This is my salted fish king. Saying this sentence in front of the nightmare god Dark Clay made Yang Yu feel a passionate feeling in his heart. Is he in the second grade? Maybe. But, this is the truth. Grrrrrrrr. He stood on his toes in a daze. Although his movements were a bit clumsy, his face had a big mouth, just like Yang Yu, looking up at Xian Xian who was soaring up in the sky. This is the salted fish king. Yang Yu's salted fish king. Darkrai has never seen such a huge Gyarados. He searched the memories in his mind for all the figures of Gyarados that had appeared in front of him thousands of years ago, even the Overlord level Gyarados in the deep sea. It's not necessarily bigger than the Gyarados in front of you right now. Although in the elf world, size does not determine the strength of an elf, but for an elf like Gyarados, which is huge and is known for its physical attack capabilities, a larger body often means greater destructive power. Coupled with the scarlet Gyarados in front of Darkrai at this time, the huge deck extending from the back of the head, which is the fin part, is the characteristic of the original return of Gyarados. Perhaps there is no record of the original return in the elf world, and this information is basically impossible to verify, but for the nightmare god Darkrai, it couldn't be more familiar. This means the Gyarados in front of Darkrai has the ability to autonomously return to super evolution. Lying on the grass, Darkrai almost couldn't help but come out of the shadow world. Of course he knew what this meant. The original returning evil power was more pure and terrifying than ordinary evil. Your Gyarados has already been able to mega-evolve independently, and it's also a super evolution that returns to the original state, then why do you need the Gyarados Megastone? Can you use it to eat? Darkrai's thoughts were disrupted by the scene in front of him. Looking at the other red and white elf ball in Yang Yu's hand, Darkrai fell into a moment of embarrassment. What should I do? Darkrai wants to see the younger ones. Can you repent or something? Obviously, Yang Yu's extra-large Gyarados does not need the Gyarados Megastone, and the real purpose of the Gyarados Megastone is actually on the small Gyarados. However, when Darkrai thought about it, if he exchanged the Gyarados Megastone to the human in front of him in exchange of interests, wouldn't it mean that the human trainer in front of him would have two Gyarados that could mega-evolve? The more destructive an elf like Gyarados is, the harder it is to cultivate it. In the elf world, when did there ever be such a devilish trainer? Almost instantly, Darkrai had already filled up various images in his mind. Darkrai, who was no stranger to elf battles, even began to feel a little excited, and his smile began to become weird. At least, in the current modern history of the elf world, there have never been two Super Gyarados appearing at the same time, let alone in the hands of the same trainer. Darkrai has already begun to think about how many people's nightmares this move will cause in the future. Darkrai has never felt such excitement. This is the feeling of being behind the scenes. Darkrai was able to create controllable nightmares in the elf world without using a single bit of his own power. This also added a little more fun to his journey to the elf world. It felt like he could do something like that. Yang Yu's wave guide power felt Darkray's excitement, but he didn't know what exactly Darkray was excited about. Maybe he recognized his strength as a trainer? At this moment, the Salted Fish King returned from the sky. However, the Salted Fish King looked at Yang Yu carefully again. The Salted Fish King scratched his head with his beard. Strangely, he seemed to feel something on Yang Yu. A strange evil force. The same origin, but slightly different. Could it be? Yang Yu is the human incarnation of evil power, leading evil people? The Salted Fish King sniffed around Yang Yu with his two nostrils as big as copper bells, as if to find out the source of the pure evil power. Darkray, the Salted Fish King has found you, Yang Yu conveyed a message to Darkray. The Salted Fish King thought, and as expected, Yang Yu actually secretly hid the other elves? Otherwise, why didn't the fluctuation of the power of the wave guide just give feedback to the Salted Fish King? There is obviously a ghost. Xian Yuan glanced in Duday's direction. Naturally, Duday would not hide anything from Xian. In addition, Xian himself had already discovered that something was wrong, so the truth was not far away. Darkray could only sigh in the shadow. He did not expect that the evil power he had hidden well would be exposed because of a Gyarados showing signs of primitive regression and mastering the super evolution of primitive regression. This is the oldest and most primitive source of evil power. The evil of Darkray is the evil of trickery. The evil of the Salted Fish King is a violent evil. The inner attributes are different, but they all belong to the origin of the evil system because of the original return. The Salted Fish King locked his gaze on the shadow under Yang Yu. Grrrrrrrrr. Duday gave Xian a thumbs up, and the clever Xian immediately discovered the weirdness of Yang Yu's place. Yang Yu gently patted the thick barb on the left side of Salted Fish King's head. With Salted Fish King and Data beside him, Yang Yu felt an absolute sense of security. The trust here was already at the beginning of his journey as a trainer. It has been fixed in one picture. The Salted Fish King saw that Dudu had no intention of taking action, so to put it this way, the elf in the shadow. Are you your new future partner? Darkray. This Gyarados has a very problematic mindset. The parts of the body have returned to their original state. Could it be that even the brain is going to return to its original state? You must know that in the super ancient times, Gyarados was a symbol of brainless elves. In short, it was the kind that destroyed things and was done. As an elf who is good at trickery, how could the nightmare god Darkray, who thought he could be called the god of trickery, become a new partner in the future with the brainless giant Gyarados in front of him? I'm afraid I've been daydreaming too much. However, seeing that this giant Gyarados possesses the original power of evil, Darkray will not care about this Gyarados who seems to have an IQ of -1. Thinking of the previous operation, Darkray's mind became active. In this case, it seems that it is not a loss to have a good relationship with the Salted Fish King in front of me. After all, everyone has the original power of evil, so it's not too much to make friends, right? When Darkray communicated his thoughts with the Salted Fish King, Darkray looked a little strange. This Salted Fish King actually invited Darkray to the Salted Fish King's dream, to listen to him sing? What is this operation? To be so enthusiastic makes Darkray so embarrassed.